and financials for your business, a lot of it starts with having the right mindset, is understanding investment versus cost.
And every dollar we spend on that has been 10 times return or more.
I get really excited about these things, about being a business owner.
That can help separate out personal assets from business assets.
Attending things like this training, get your lead management set up and integrate your business email.
So if you're not paying attention to metrics, you're wasting time, energy, and ultimately money, especially with leads. Part of Jumpstart Go, who founded the Marketing for Insurance Agents group. And we really created this just resource for you guys. And so we have 30,000 insurance agents in this group. It's growing every single day, every single month. And we love having you guys here. And then we also work directly with agents inside of our programs, the Closers Click, Legends, Producers Academy, as well as a final expense agency ourselves as well, where we've worked with over 350 plus insurance agents and agencies and help them grow and scale their businesses, really in all areas. So just different fits depending where people are at, but we work with everybody and we're really excited to help agents constantly. And that's our favorite thing. So with that, Elle, I'd love if you introduce yourself, tap in a little bit, and we'll get rolling.
Yeah, along with David here, I'm also founder of Jumpstart Go, working with insurance agents, helping them grow in their marketing. And that marketing is really my key area of expertise, as well as doing some systems and process design as well. My background is in design, so I do love that aspect of it. But I focus a ton on marketing, really helping clients. Today, we were just training on your ideal client avatar, working clients on marketing message, and really how to reach that right fit client, how to create marketing messages that are compelling so that referrals and warm leads reach out to you, specifically on social media. And I've also consulted with 7- and 8-figure agencies as well, helping them on processes, design work, marketing work. And so I've done quite a bit in the consulting space as well in the insurance world.
Love it. Love it. So if you're ready to get the bell ringing for your insurance business or just ringing more, you're in the right spot. So let me tee up what we're talking about today. So what are you here today for? So today we're going to be discussing the 3 pillars to create your 6-figure agency. What goes into building a successful and big insurance business? How do you grow and scale beyond maybe just getting started or initial sales to selling regularly to building 6-figure plus agency? And the 3 main things that go into that for the pillars are 1, financials. How to set yourself up for maximum profit in your agency. Cash is king, cash flow is king. How do you be profitable? It doesn't do any good to produce a bunch, but it costs you that amount to produce and you're still at square 1. I don't know, something like that. So I don't think that makes any sense. But number 2, systems. What automations and tools you need in your agency to actually scale? What helps you scale? What do you need to put in place? What helps you leverage that? What helps you be very successful? Large companies don't just fly by night and wing it and hope things work out. You know, they have systems, they have processes. We'll talk about that in a second too. And number 3, marketing and sales, which actually really go together. You know, people view them separately, but they're tied at the hip. It's really hard to pull them apart from each other. So the simplest and best ways to get more leads, appointments, and deals through the door without cold calling 10 hours a day, coming off as salesy, or just plain wasting your time. So first off, pillar 1, financials.
Yes.
Oh, why is this so critical?
Man, okay, so there's like a ton to unpack when we talk about financials, and we could definitely do whole trainings on this. But first, I think that money and financials for your business, a lot of it starts with having the right mindset around business ownership. And even before financials, really understanding, like, thinking about your business as an asset, right? So I'll say this about this when we start talking about financials and really looking at this as like business ownership, right? We kind of shift out of employee mindset into business ownership around financials when we start looking at investing in our business. Have you ever thought about that before, as far as investing money into your business? Maybe not for tomorrow, it's going to produce an ROI, but you see the long-term vision of what you're investing in money and time, that it is an asset that is going to either produce passive income for you down the road. You know that you're maybe having to put a lot of what we call sweat equity into your business today because you're building a long-term asset that's going to generate money for you and create that time freedom for you down the road. Maggie says income and legacy. I love it. I'm seeing a lot of both, which I really, really like, which I would say that's, David and I too. And when we got into entrepreneurship, not only were we looking to replace income and have our business generate income for us so that we could pay our bills and maintain our lifestyle, but we also, as we grew, we're really starting to look at our business as something, oh, wow, this is something that is an asset that what we're investing into today as far as our business is something that we're building equity into this thing, like a home, for example. So kind of like a job is something that would be like, rent, for example, like, you go to a job with an employer, they pay you, but there's not necessarily a lot of equity that you would have in that organization versus something that you build yourself, which would be like home ownership. You build equity in over time. So I think that's the first thing when we start talking about financials is understanding investment versus cost. And that when we invest money into our business, we're looking at how this is going, our investments of our time and money will produce a return for us down the road.
I love that. And actually, just what you're mentioning brings up some interesting concepts from a book way back at the beginning of Entrepreneur Journey that I found helpful. And I think a lot have, of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But, that's the concept of, you don't buy and build liabilities. In fact, actually, the typical American does, though, buys and builds liabilities. You want to buy and build assets, things that are going to produce additional income or net worth, things that you can build. And so the smart people and the people that become the wealthy and the 1%, they are constantly evaluating if they're going to put money or time towards something. Is this thing going to be an asset or is it going to be a liability? Is it going to be something that goes down in value, like a car, for example, or is it going to be an asset of something that's going to produce additional cash flow or income or worth of something that I could potentially exit or sell or synergy to my existing businesses? Now, they might, and if they look at it something like a car, how can I do that for my business as a tax write-off against what I'm doing? They're smart about their purchases. So it's all based on assets and liabilities. And so really viewing it in that way. And I think one of the big things, especially insurance agents, but really any entrepreneurs have to come to terms with too, which maybe they were born or raised originally how Elle and I was raised, very much in that mindset. I think a lot of us were. And I think one thing, let's be honest, financial literacy and finances aren't really taught in schools that much, even, and when Elle and I were coming up too. But, one of the things that wasn't really taught or explained was like the difference between good debt and bad debt, assets and liabilities. Mm-hmm. And so, what was taught to us, and I still agree with on a lot of that, was liabilities and bad debt. And that, yeah, I don't want bad debt, or I don't want to take on debt for liabilities as much as I can, because that's not going to help me build my net worth, build my income, build my businesses. Whereas there is such a thing as good debt, and all is about getting returns off your money. And so what is the value of the money, and what I'm investing in potential interest rate or loan versus what I'm able to produce off of that? And that's how, people use other people's money or even their own money to generate returns and growth by using that to build assets, right? So that's the concept I wanted to kind of dive into of, okay, if something is going to be a liability that I'm putting time or energy into, that's a cost. That's something that's costing me something, and I'm not going to necessarily get anything out of that other than maybe some enjoyment or something like that. Whereas if I'm investing into an asset, something that like my business or something that's going to help me grow my business, something like that, then that's an investment. That's something that I am expecting to generate a return off of, something that I'm expecting to help me grow, whether it's my revenue, whether it's my savings, whether it's my investments, stocks, bonds, whatever that is, that's investment because it's something that I'm going to be using to make a return. So yes, I know it's sort of Dave Ramsey would not agree, and if we look at a few things, I know there's some things that at Dave Ramsey? Sure. Budgeting and some stuff is great. And there's some things that maybe I defer on Dave Ramsey on a lot, as well as others do. Especially a lot of us in the insurance industry might defer on a few things there. But I will say that is one thing we had to overcome, and especially maybe coming from a Dave Ramsey type-ish world inside the business world, of realizing it helps to have cap. It helps to have investments and things that are going to help you grow and scale. And one of those things for us, for example, which I not won't get too far off topic because, like I said, we have limited time, that Elle mentioned earlier, was coaching and mentorship and helping and people in things that were going to help us get past things quicker, faster, avoid the pitfalls, get to results faster, and people that have been there, done it, and seen it, and could help us spot things that we wouldn't have spotted, that make the same mistakes everybody else made, or a particular challenge. All those different types of things are things that we've invested in heavily, and every dollar we spent on that has been 10 times return or more. And when you get a 10 times return off every dollar, it's hard to say no, and it's hard not to keep doing that and keep growing and scaling. And that's something we heavily believe in. And that's an investment. It's not a cost. Something that was able to help us grow our businesses and grow quickly, because time is also a factor as well. But Elle, you want to hop in on that?
Yeah, I love that. So I think we've covered like investment versus cost. Let us know in the comments if that's making sense, right? Yes, in the comments if that's clicking as far as understanding investment versus cost. And especially as you step into business ownership and thinking about your agency as a business owner, maybe some of those things that have maybe felt like cost, maybe you're even thinking about, well, actually that was an investment because I did see a lift from that. So awesome. I'm seeing lots of yeses. One thing I'll also point out on the mindset with money, when one of the really cool things that happens when you're a business owner is that you can pay for these expenses tax-free. So when you work as an employee and you work as a W-2, you know, there's that item, that little line for taxes, you know, so, and it's not always that little of what comes out of your paycheck before before it actually lands into your bank account, right? So the tax. But when you become a business owner, you still have to pay tax as a 1099, or really, we're going to talk about setting up an LLC here in a minute, but you still have to pay tax. But what you can do is you can pay for anything that is related to your business. So your phone, your computer, business travel, mileage that you drive with your car, all kinds of things that you can pay for with money before it's taxed. So you can think about money, money that comes in, money that goes out, and then the remainder is taxed, versus you have, money that you're paid as a W-2, you're taxed, and then what you're left over with is already money that's been taxed. Let me know in the comments if that's making sense. I don't have like a visual necessarily to break it down, but hopefully that idea makes sense as far as like paying your expenses with pre-tax money, and what an incredible benefit that is to be able to save on taxes that way. You can even, I saw somebody write in here that they are an accountant or a CPA. We're not. So definitely consult with somebody that knows taxes. But these are just things that I think help in shifting the mindset into business ownership. And for me, that's a little bit more analytical and logical. I get really excited about these things, about being a business owner and thinking about my business this way of like, I want to try to pay for as much as I possibly and legally can out of the business before I'm taxed on that money. That's pretty cool, right? So that was a point I wanted to make. David, do you want to talk a little bit about setting up an LLC and taking that?
Yeah, I can talk about setting up an LLC, and like you said, is that shift of like getting paycheck and then taking out taxes and spending on the rest post taxes, versus a business owner is generating income, spending, and then getting taxed on the remaining amount afterwards. And so it's just that shift, and it makes a huge difference, especially as you grow and scale your business. And with taxes, there's all kinds of cool things. I saw someone comment, you're taxed on food and clothes with money that you already were taxed on, right? And and that's really interesting when you start to get into cool like concepts, which your CPA or accountant should be talking to you about, like a sub 18-year-old kid of yours, if they're helping out in the business at all, you can pay up to somewhere around 12,000-13,000. You got to go look at the exact ruling on it, or ever on paying them for that help within the business. And then you can use that money essentially tax-free for purchases for that kid, clothing, food, schooling, that sort of stuff as well. And so, stuff like the Gusta rule, if you're not familiar with the Gusta rule, there's all kinds of really awesome things that as a business owner, you're not paying attention to. It's costing you thousands and thousands, tens of thousands not to know these things, not to be looking at these things. And, when we go to work, we learn, as an employee, we learn about that company, we learn how things work, we, try to do our best and all that sort of stuff. But as business owners, we almost end up as like lazy of like, oh, well, I didn't know the things I didn't know. Well, we got to look and find out the things we didn't know because it's costing you a ton. And the people that are really successful, they learn these things, they study these things. It's a business. You need to constantly be learning and evolving, or else you're missing out. So with that, setting up an LLC, it's honestly, once again, not an attorney or CPA, but it's not hard. It's really not, it's very basic paperwork. You can do it yourself, or pretty minimal costs can have a CPA or accountant help you set it up as well. And I think you can even use like LegalZoom, stuff like that. It's very straightforward to set up an LLC. So once again, you're gonna have to figure out the best structure for your business and you. But an LLC, especially if you're running your own business at all, is always going to be a better setup than sole proprietor. So now you have possibilities of taking tax advantages and also just protecting yourself with an LLC versus sole proprietor. So there's the protection aspect and liability aspect, which is why LLCs were created in the first place, as a separate entity than you personally. And that can help separate out personal assets from business assets, especially as you grow and scale. It's very important. You don't want people coming after personal assets for something that happened within the business or a liability there, and vice versa. You don't want someone after you personally, or, hit them with a car or something coming after your business asset. So LLCs play a very important role in that factor. But then if you're LLC taxed like an S corp or S corp election, then there are tax advantages and significant savings on taxes as you earn more and more on that side as well. So I don't want to get into all the different tax stuff. Like I said, we're not CPAs, we're not tax attorneys, but it is something we've paid very close attention to. We've learned over the years. Some things we've learned hard ways as well, which we're happy to share with you, so you don't have to do it that way as well. But it's very important to pay attention to that. And a lot of people just never go file an LLC, never even consider it, never even look at it, and it's costing them a lot of money and putting themselves at risk as well. So yes, maybe an S corp, maybe a C corp, something might be the best fit. But honestly, for a lot of people, it's an LLC with an S corp election or similar. And so take a look at it. It's worth doing a little research. It's worth learning. Don't just take someone's word. Do the learning for yourself. And definitely, as you're growing, scaling, making a bit of money, make sure that you have at least a bookkeeper, and then at least someone like once a quarter or something like an accountant, CPA, to be able to help advise and stuff as well, because probably have estimated taxes. Learn that the hard way too. Hey, as you make money, you don't get to just wait till the end of the year as a business owner to pay your taxes. You have estimated taxes every quarter, and you get in trouble if you don't pay them. So guys, there's all kinds of cool stuff, but pay attention. You want to do the best in your business. You want to grow this. You want to be an asset. You want to produce income, and do the work and learn the things you need to so you can successfully do that.
Good. I love that. And it just like really circles back around to the mindset, right? This is all how you frame it and look at it. Like you can look at it of like, oh my gosh, this is so much work. I have to learn all this stuff. Or you can look at this as business ownership. It gives you such an incredible opportunity and actually more resources to do more with your money in more creative ways than you would have available to you as a W-2. So while working as a W-2 and having somebody do it for you is definitely easier, but learning business ownership and these foundations of business ownership, and really adopting this mindset of I am a business owner, I'm a problem solver, I'm willing to do the hard things because I know that it's going to pay off, and I'm investing in my business by learning these skills, by seeking out the help and the mentorship and attending things like this training and learning these concepts that I might not be exposed to otherwise. One last point on financials before we move on to our next pillar, which is going to be systems. One last thing that's, I think, one of the easier things that you can do would be to keep your personal and business expenses separate. So once you have that, LLC, or even if you set up as a sole proprietor where you're not even, operating as an LLC, keep your expenses separate in different accounts. So you've got business money coming in, and you've got a credit card that's associated with your commissions, for example. So you have all of your commissions from carriers that are coming into one account, and you have that separate from your personal household expenses. expenses. So have 2 different credit cards, one for business, one for personal, have 2 different debit cards, checking accounts, everything. That's going to help you so much when it comes tax time, which is tax time now, and reconciling your books. I think that's one of the top things. And definitely seek out a bookkeeper that can help you.
And and flip side on personal side too, I think a lot of people like getting their refunds, right? Like especially employees like, ooh, got my tax refund coming. Guys, you should not be excited about refunds. Refunds means you give a tax-free loan of money to the government, of money that they didn't need or you didn't owe them, that they're now just giving back to you. So you basically gave free money to the government to hold on to for a while without getting anything in return. That's like a business owner's worst nightmare. So you should not be shooting for large refunds or, even really any refunds. That means you weren't utilizing your money the best way possible, which becomes very, very important on your business side because cash flow, capital, all this stuff plays a very important role. So you set up an LLC, even if you were just a captive agent. Ooh, good question. I'll answer that in a bit. But yeah, even having a personal LLC, if they can pay you that way, would be good. But yeah, as a captive,
anybody that's paid by a 1099.
1099, then
that's the rule.
Yeah. If you're a W-2 employee, then no, you don't need to set up an LLC for that. I mean, once again, not a tax attorney, but no, if you're an employee, you don't really need an LLC. All right, cool. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the next section, which is systems, and which is exactly what we're talking about, systems and why they're so important. So Elle, I know you love systems, one of your favorite things. So I'm gonna let you hop in on this.
Yeah. So you were talking a lot about like people processes, which is so important as you grow. I will say, I think processes around people and team and organizational design it's one of the more challenging things in business ownership, in my opinion, because it's people on your team, and you want to create great systems and great processes for them to onboard into. And we're currently onboarding some new team members right now, while also changing some of our infrastructure systems. And it has been quite the undertaking. And so we thankfully have amazing people on our team that are super flexible, willing to work with the systems and everything that we're rolling out. But I'd like to start with, as for our solo agents or people that don't necessarily have teams, either producers in their agencies or downline agents yet. For when it's just you, first off, it's so much, right? You're wearing all of the different hats because you are not only sales and marketing, but you're also service and all of the things. And you're the financial person, you're the systems person, you're everything. So it can be very sometimes difficult to really understand how to organize your time. Time management is so important. You're wearing all of these hats because you essentially have to switch gears frequently to make sure that you're handling all of the processes and touching everything in the business that needs to get touched. One of the best things that you can do for yourself is setting up systems in the form of automation, like a lead management system. I would say should be one of the very first things that you set up technology wise inside of your agency. So something where all of your leads, all of your clients, anybody that you have a conversation with or you have an opportunity to talk about, their information goes into the system. Even having some simple follow-up automations in place. If you have leads that you're working and for example, when their renewal dates are, those X dates, having things like that in place, having a simple way to do email, text message, broadcasting can be really beneficial so that you're not having to individually work every single lead, because working leads, working conversations, staying in touch with people is so key, right? Like when you're doing it all, there's no way that you can possibly remember a conversation that you had with someone 4 weeks ago, 4 months ago, 4 years ago, maybe depending on how long you've been in business. You really want a system where you can bring up their file, you remember where you left off with the conversation, and be able to pick that up with them. So having a lead management system or a CRM in place, David, the system that we're actually switching switching over to and that we work with our clients on and advise them on and support them on is Go High Level. Specifically, we work with Jason Boyd and build out automations for insurance agents, and Go High Level for insurance agents is the name of that version of High Level that we teach. But it's important. It brings in all your calendar system. It brings in your email, your SMS, all in one place so that you can really manage that client relationship from start to finish, and even, through the servicing aspect of it as well. So I would say that would be the number one system that I think is most important, especially for solo agents. And then once you have a team, you have to have something like that. You cannot build an agency and work leads at volume or work conversations at volume without having some sort of lead management system. Because what if you have multiple team members that are working with the same person? They need to be able to know where that person is in the pipeline, needs to know what the last conversation was. So, David, anything you want to add as far as lead management goes?
No, just that it makes your life simpler, easier, more efficient, straightforward, saves you time. I mean, yes, it might be a little bit of a learning curve depending on what system you're using and learning it, but it pays off 1,000-fold. It's an investment, not a cost of time, because it's only going to make you better at what you're doing in your business and more efficient and get better results. Like, I think about, like, if I've got a bunch of leads I'm working, okay, cool. Maybe I'm working, 3 or 5 leads a day, something really tiny, forever. Like, okay, cool. I can call my 3 to 5 leads. That's great. Next day, cool. I got 3 to 5 new leads. Okay, cool. And I'm gonna try to get back to my 3 to 5 yesterday. Okay, starting to get a little bit more, but I can handle that. No worries. And then by day 5, 6, 10, like I've got hundreds of leads and people in the pipeline. Where is this one? Where is that one? How many times did I work this one? Did I only call this one once and then move on to new leads that now I'm just wasting money and lighting it on fire? It's impossible. Like, the only way to effectively manage your pipeline, your sales, and your money is using a lead management system and technology, especially like Elle said, once you have team members, then you're just really lighting money on fire if you don't have something like that in place. And not even just that of like keeping up with things, but getting the best results. Like, if I'm just going to call someone a couple times, like I'm going to get, a blank contact rate. But if I'm multi-tapping them, if I'm doing like a triple tap, I'm doing a voicemail, I'm doing a text, I'm doing an email, doing a ringless voicemail, I'm now going to get a 2 or 3 times that contact rate because I have different contact methods. I'm using a system to actually do some of that contact for me, so I'm not manually doing it. It just is better results and also saves you time. Also, as you think about processes for your business, training for your business and for your agents, that you don't have to do the same training a million times, that sort of stuff. Like, it's just so critical. And I think it's something that agents just overlook or think like, oh, let me just scratch some things on paper and that's going to be how I run my business, or maybe on an Excel sheet, which, maybe while you first start is okay, but you're going to have to quickly start to put something real in place, especially as you grow and scale.
I love it. So a couple of things that I'll touch on as far as systems go, especially for our solo agents that are just getting started, but sometimes we work with agency owners with teams as well that sometimes are still using a personal email address and a personal phone number. So these are 2 things that I think are kind of like low-hanging fruit items that really help you increase your professional presence. And it's also just going to help you like keep things straight. Just kind of going back to separating your personal finances from your business finances. Separate out your communication out of personal and business. You want to think about creating a separation there. So I highly recommend, I've been seeing this a lot lately, so that's actually why I put this in this training. Highly recommend getting a business email. So like your name, like my business email, l@jumpstartgonow.com. You guys just all got my email, but that's my business email, which is different than my ldenning@gmail.com, at Gmail, at Yahoo, at Hotmail. If it has anything like that at Ymail, that's not a business email. So
or if it's Captain Underpants 420, maybe you should get a business email.
That's not a
for
business email.
Messaging leads and prospects. So, just putting that out there for you guys of like, I've seen some emails being used that I'm like, who in the world is doing business with this person that this is the email that they're using? Like, it's one thing for ldenning@gmail.com. Okay, that's fine. It's their name at gmail.com at least, forever. But getting a business email where it's actually like your domain at the end or whatever is so important. But especially if you have some silly email that's a personal one, don't use that for your business, please.
Yes. So get your lead management set up and integrate your business email. I like I like Google for getting a business email. So you can go to Google and you can type into the search bar, Google business email, and you can create a business email at, not Captain Underpants 420 at AOL.com. No, not, please, if you're using anything like that, please
At
stop.
bellsouth.net,
Bellsouth, Charter, AOL.
Oh my gosh.
No. So you can go to Google and it's Google for Business, or you can type in Google business email, and it's really easy. It'll walk you through the steps. It'll basically create a whole new Google Drive, Google Calendar, all of these things that are Google tools that you can use for your email address. So I highly, highly recommend using that with your lead management system, as well as a phone number. So setting up a phone number that's associated with your business, and there's lots of different providers out there. If you use Go High Level, or you use Go High Level for insurance agents, it has a built-in dialer in it. Get a business number through that, and then you register your business phone number with, I think it's freecallerregistry.com.
Mm-hmm.
So you're registering yourself, your number, with all of the phone carriers across, like all of our major phone carriers in North America. And you're saying, I'm a legitimate business. This is my legitimate business number, so that your business number isn't marked as spam. It's my legitimate business email address. So before you think about building a website, a logo, anything like that, do these 3 things. Set yourself up with the CRM or lead management system. Get yourself a business email address and a business phone number. Please, please, please. It's going to create a very much more professional online presence. People are concerned about an online presence with a website. These 3 items are going to help you go further, do more business, get in touch with more leads. Registering your number as a business number is going to help increase your contact rates. People are going to see that you're a real business. Having email communication that's coming from a real business email is also going to help you actually get your emails opened, because you're going to look like a set up business. So those are the 3 things that I really wanted to touch on as far as systems go. Hopefully I didn't ruffle too many feathers here, but I'm telling you the truth, guys. Just telling you the truth.
Honestly, if you haven't registered your number, then you got the value out of tonight already for this, because that's going to drastically help your contact rate and your calls go through, get answered, not show up as spam likely when you call, all that sort of stuff. So if you're not haven't registered your number, go do that tonight. Like there's really no reason not to, and it's free, and it's going to help a ton. So with changes with the FCC, if you don't have your numbers registered, that's where it started marking them as spam likely, started not even maybe sending them through to some people and stuff like that. So honestly, if you don't go do that, you're just missing out on opportunities, especially if you work a lot of leads, and you're definitely missing out on a ton of stuff. So Elle, what is this last pillar?
Marketing and sales. All right. So you got your financials in place and you got your systems in place. But really, at the end of the day, having a business account set up, having your system set up, that doesn't bring in the sales, right? That doesn't mean cash in the bank. So your marketing and sales, I really debated too about breaking these out into 2 different pillars, but they really are so connected and go together. So I have kind of broken them out into subcategories, but you have to have people to talk to, right? Marketing, you have to have lead flow and opportunity flow before you can make any sales. I think we know that, right? Like the basics of business and the mechanisms of business is we have to have opportunities to even begin that conversation, so that could potentially lead into a sale. So let's talk, David, I know we have tons of training inside of this Facebook group specifically on marketing. The name of the Facebook group is Marketing for Insurance Agents. So we talk a ton about leads, referrals, using social media. Let's talk a little bit about leads, about opportunities, and about marketing, as far as some basics for people that are getting started on their journey to building a 6-figure agency.
So let's talk about, market strategy for generating leads. So there's obviously a lot of different ways to generate leads, even if you maybe are only told of one way or the other. It seems to be certain people very much, only organic, warm market, talk to your family, friends, go to, networking events. And that's the only way to get leads. Paying for leads is evil. It's bad. It's horrible. It's only for agents that can't, generate relationships or whatever and stuff. Or the vice versa. You're like, hey, leads is the only way. They just buy leads, work leads. That's the only way to generate business and build business, and spending time on anything else is a waste of time when you can just be working leads and selling leads. So I'm here to, I guess, not take a controversial stance of the fact that both of those are right, and neither of those is also probably the best option by itself. So I very much believe in diversified pipelines, and for a lot of different reasons. It's going to help you be the most effective and profitable and sustainable growth over time in your business. There's a lot of ways to take advantage of both of those, but they also are synergistic together. And so when you're missing one of those, you're missing out on opportunities for sure. And especially the more that you're able to help clients in different ways, you're really, really missing out on opportunities. So let's talk about it. So purchase leads is one way of generating opportunities in your pipeline. And that is people that are reaching out in one way or the other, different amounts of intent, different types there, different costs. Maybe your company has them, maybe you're getting them from vendors. But no matter what with those, leads are actually the epitome of data-based decision-making and data-based metrics. So if you are working leads, you need to know your metrics and you should be tracking those. And it's nice because that system is so metric based that you can look at it and be like, okay, I put $1 in, this is what I'm going to get out. This is what my contact rate is. This is my quote rate. This is my close rate. This is my issue rate. This is my average premium. This is my average commission. This is, you can track all these numbers with leads, which is really nice. So you can know exactly, hey, my contact rate is lower than normal on this. What changed or ever that lowered my contact rate? Now let me go address that. So now I can ultimately end up with more sales rather than just guessing and being like, oh, I'm not making as much. Maybe I'm just not as good at sales as I thought. Maybe I need to work on some objections. Well, that's not it. It's actually something that affected a close rate. So now you're spending and wasting time on an area that you're actually maybe really, really good at instead of focusing on the area that actually is going to help with upping the contact. Maybe I need to register my phone number. So now I get more people answering the calls. So now I get to quote more and then sell more. So if you're not paying attention to metrics, you're wasting time, energy, and ultimately money, especially with leads. And so that's why I love leads, because it is a system that you can just turn the knob when you're like, okay, these numbers are looking good. Let me turn the knob and now test it out at a higher level of numbers and stuff as well. And once again, you have to have a system when you're working those as well, or else you're just going to waste a bunch of money also. So that's the nice thing about leads. And then on the flip side, coming away from leads to another side is the referrals. If you're not constantly getting referrals from your leads, but also from your referral partners or market, you are missing out on your profitability side as well as additional sales as well, a higher close rate. If you're not having a higher close rate off your warm referrals and referral partners sending you people, then I would be questioning what was going on, because you should have a higher close rate off those. Those are also coming to you that you're not spending the money on the leads as well. It's going to be more profitable, and it's also a very sustainable way to build also to go along. So strategic referral partners, huge fans of those, and centers of influence. Getting out in your community. As an agent, you should own your local community. I'm not saying that you need to do face-to-face and spend a whole bunch of time in and out and about in the community, but building strategic relationships, being well-known in your community, building that reputation, that's going to pay off over time and long-term as well. And that's worth dedicating a bit of your pipeline and time and efforts to in order to also build locally as well. And then getting to know who your ideal customer is and how to reach them obviously pays off by being able directly to go after them. What type of marketing, what type of thing reaches them most directly? Where are they hanging out? Where are they spending time? That's where I'm going to go in order to connect with these people, get them coming to me, or me being able to directly reach out to them. So that's really important to know, because different people hang out in different places or utilize different softwares, technology. You need to know your target audience, which is why we taught on that so much today and so important. So Elle, you want to talk about on the sales side at all?
Yeah, so I know David just gave you kind of high picture there of marketing, but again, we have done so much training on marketing. So if you want any marketing resources, you want our team to hand select some resources for you, just write resources in the comments and they'll get that to you. So let's talk about sales, because if you have opportunities, you've got leads, you have people to talk to, sales is the next thing, right? It's converting that opportunity into closed business, money in the bank. So one of the things I'll say, and again, I might ruffle a few feathers here, but is that we see that a lot of times sales reps in general, insurance agents, I think it's just like it's very natural for us to want to blame leads and to want to look at a lead source as the issue. But really, if you're able to close at a higher rate your deals that are coming through, that without having to do anything on your marketing side of buying more leads or working on your marketing, which can sometimes be more difficult to do, if you can close more sales from the leads and the opportunities and the conversations that you already have coming through, that's a huge opportunity. So one thing that, like what David was talking about, when you're working leads and you're tracking your numbers and you're tracking those metrics, it gives you clues into at what part in your marketing and sales process is there a bottleneck, is there a breakdown. So really always developing your sales skills. If you are on the phones, if you're closing sales, if you're working with clients directly, always sharpening those sales skills. If you're leading sales teams, always sharpening your sales skills. This is an area that David and I really have had to develop ourselves. And we have Trista Giancotti on our team who teaches sales, and she has 13 years specifically in insurance sales. And she teaches our clients because she has way more experience in sales than David and I do. And so, but this is we still lead sales teams. We work with agents. And so we're constantly investing in training and investing in people and our organization for sales skills. So I really can't stress this enough as far as your skills. If you have people listen to your calls, listen to your own calls, critique yourself, role play with people, make sure that your sales skills are on point and that you're always developing those. The most successful agents and agency owners that we know in the industry are always developing their sales skills. Bianca Menard, her team did over 60,000 like a week, I think, in the month of February. Did I get that right, David? I think it was like every week
they did like
about 60,000.
Considering they did like 220 or 230 last month, then yeah, they definitely did over 60 in a week.
Yeah. So, and she's constantly developing her sales skills. She's investing in sales training. And so even though I would consider her one of the best in the business as far as sales skills go, she's constantly investing and sharpening that tool. So I'll say I just really wanted to point that out as far as sales. If your contact rate is 50% and higher, but you're not bringing deals across the line, you definitely don't have a marketing or leads problem. You do have something that's going on the phones once you're talking to that person. It could be a different part in the sales process. It could be in that first 30 seconds of that call. It could be something that's happening later. It could be in overcoming those objections. It could be assuming the close. All of these things are things that Trista teaches on heavily. But really look at your sales process, look at your calls. If you're not recording your calls, again, that goes back to the systems. Make sure you have a system in place so that you can record calls, that you can review those yourself. And I would really highly recommend having a mentor that can do those reviews for you and provide feedback on your sales process. So you can never learn too much. Yes, absolutely. Make sure you're recording those calls, that you're doing that self-reflection and role play as well. Practice with people. And definitely, because people are going to hear things, they're going to provide feedback for you. So hopefully that's helpful on the marketing and sales portion. David, is there anything that you want to add there before we wrap up that pillar?
No, I think time-wise, I think there's not too much I want to add on that. I know we do a lot of trainings, a lot of resources on sales specifically. So once again, if you want the resources, you want other trainings, you want to learn more about us, all that sort of stuff, just write resources in the comments and we'll get you that, because we have a bunch of trainings specifically on the sales side. So happy to get you those.